You were there visiting. It
Yeah.
was late at night.
Well,
about
Dr. Wynn,
he came in every night.
he came in every night. He did all his work during the day. He was an oncologist, had his office across town, and then he closed up when he was done there, and he would, whatever hospitals in the area that he had patients at, he would go see them every night. So every night, even the nights that I wasn't there at the same time he was, he saw you every day when you were in the hospital. He didn't skip over one thing.
And I was having a rough time. It had been days that I was in this room, and he asked if he could give me a hug. And I'm like, sure. It was so odd. It was so odd that a doctor would say that.
Like, just let him give you the hug, you know.
I thought it was so odd for a doctor to say that. And he embraced me and held me, and I kind of collapsed into it.
You did.
And he had his face near my ear, and he was speaking in Vietnamese.
I could hear the dude whispering for a long time. But
yeah,
do you know,
after he pulled back, he said to me, he goes, I just prayed for you. And he told me, he looked at me in the eyes and he says, you're going to be okay. And I'm thinking, there's no doctor that would ever say that.
And I remember when he left, I said, hey, man, whatever you did there, she really needed that. I said, that's very cool of you, Dr. Wynn. And, you know, I called him Doc. I said, very cool of you, Doc. And he said something like he loved you very much. And he just had this tear in his eye, like he was crossing that line of like, okay, here's my doctor part, but here's my human part. And, I know also that's when I asked him, I said, what'd you say? You know, because I got to know. And he's like, it was a prayer.
Vietnamese.
He said it was a Vietnamese prayer.
Well, he was laying hands on you too, right? I mean, that's what he was doing.
He was, but it was just, it was such a moving moment. And there was some calm in there too. It was like, okay. And then because I was getting a little anxious because I was so sick, and I had been in the hospital, and you're in this room, and you can't have any visitors.
So remember, Dr. Wynn came in every night to the hospital, check on my wife. A lot of the times I had hurried through my day, and I was able to be back there. So I would sit, and, you know, he'd come in and do his thing, and I'd talk to him for a second and tell him thank you. And so one night, he came and did his usual rounds. I guess around 6:30 or 7 o'clock, did his thing. And so he leaves, and then I'm sitting there. Now, this particular night, for some reason, I was able to stay later. I want to say, was it about 9:30, 10 o'clock, or maybe even a little after? All of a sudden, I'm sitting there in the chair, and the door opens, and he walked back in. Now, he's never walked back in. He's never come back once he does his rounds and says, okay, I've checked everything. So he comes back in, and my heart sank. I knew something was wrong.